Everybody, welcome to a brand new episode of Part of the Problem. I am excited and thrilled to have our guest for today's show, which is retired Colonel Douglas Macgregor. Of course, he was also a senior advisor over there at the Department of Defense under President Trump. Unfortunately, briefly, as he was put into that position after the 2020 election. We all wish he had been there maybe after the 2016 election, had a little bit more time to clean up that whole mess. But we really appreciate you taking the time to join us, sir. How are you today?
Great.
So we're big admirers of yours here on the show. I've mentioned you several times. We really appreciate that you have been one of the few people with your background who's been telling the American people the truth about our military strategy, about the wars, particularly over the last 20 years in the Middle East. Of course, I want to talk a bunch about Ukraine today. But first, I was curious, what led you to be this person who's out there ringing the alarm bell and telling the American people the truth? Was there a change in your philosophical outlook or strategic outlook over the years that led you to feel that it was this important to talk about these things?
Well, I think, this is an interesting question that probably deserves more time than we've got. But just to quickly sum up, I changed my outlook a great deal when I was in the desert in 1991. From my vantage point, the conduct of the operation on the ground, well, for that matter, in the air as well, but certainly on the ground, was very disappointing. We were moved at an incredibly slow pace. Ultimately, the general officers who were in command did not seem to understand the impact of technology on the Army, the change in the quality of the soldiers, sergeants, lieutenants, and captains that had occurred over the previous 10 to 15 years. And as a result, I think we snatched defeat from the jaws of victory in 1991. We ended this campaign long before it should have been ended. We took too long to attack. So I kind of walked away from this whole thing and said, we've got serious problems at high levels. There was also no strategic thinking in terms of what did we want to really accomplish, this business of, we just want to drive the Iraqis out of Kuwait. And whenever I would say to people subsequently, no, we really wanted to rid Iraq of Saddam Hussein, they would look at me, oh, no, that was not one of the objectives, which of course is a lot of nonsense because we spent all the time before, during, and then afterwards trying to assassinate him and kill him. But no, we really didn't want to remove him. Well, if you didn't want to remove him, then you should have made peace with him after the war and gotten on with things and done business. But we wouldn't do that either. So I became very disenchanted there. And then subsequently over the next succeeding, 10, 12 years, I saw increasing confusion. I didn't see the evidence for any strategy. I saw the evidence for a compulsion to intervene in places where we hadn't before, on the grounds that somehow or another we were going to lead this great globalist revolution for democracy, all of which was nonsense. So I went through the business in Bosnia, then subsequently in Kosovo. And then, of course, in 2001, we had the Afghan business, and I was dragged in early about Iraq, and it became clear to me that contrary to the original plan, we wanted to stay in Iraq at least as in perpetuity as far as I could tell, which made no sense to me at all. Why would you stay there? You only wanted to change out the government. And then again, we went through this nonsense that we're going to democratize the place and make Iraq the first Israel-friendly Arab democracy in the world. And the chances of those things happening were, pretty low. So I was very disenchanted. And then when I saw us stay there, it became clear to me it was going to be a catastrophe. And I said, the best that I can do is tell people this is a very dumb idea. But as you know, Americans are all too quick to become emotionally involved in a cause they know nothing about. And they join the sort of proverbial bombs away club. They tend to think that if we're bombing someone somewhere, that our greatness is being expressed to the world. Both assumptions are wrong. And here we sit 20 years later, and what have we got for our investment? As Donald Trump said, whether you like him or not, what do we get for it? How did we benefit? And the answer, of course, was no. We're going through something similar right now with Ukraine and Eastern Europe, and we've involved ourselves in something we could have prevented very easily. by simply steering Ukraine away from confrontation with Russia. Instead, we did the opposite. We steered this entire country, this nation of people, into a war with Russia. We should have been interested in avoiding that, but we weren't. And now we haven't shown much interest in bringing it to an end. Yeah. We seem to want to prolong it, although I'm not sure that's true for President Biden, but certainly for the rest of his administration and people on the Hill, it seems to be the case. Again, I don't see any benefit to this for the Ukrainians. I don't see anyone in Europe benefiting from it. I don't think we benefit from it. So